Hi everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Today, I'm lucky to be joined by Claudia Scrase. With extensive experience in the hospitality industry, Claudia Scrase has worked for some of the biggest hotel brands in the world, including the Thompson Hotel Group, SH Hotels and Resorts, and the Viceroy Hotel Group. Have you ever felt pressure to choose between your career growth and family commitments, and how have you navigated that?
It is definitely a balancing act, and it's hard. It's so hard. I think, we don't talk about it enough about how the hustle's real for a working mom.
What's your approach to setting boundaries between work and personal life?
Saying no and learning to put yourself first, not just personally, but professionally.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that sounds like it's a you problem.
How have you managed the balance of your career and family life?
It's an ongoing journey, and it's never, and I know it's not black and white, and it's never right or wrong.
Yeah.
Like any decision you make, professionally or personally, it just leads you to another path.
Yeah.
And that path could have, takes you just another step.
Hi everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Today, I'm lucky to be joined by Claudia Scrase. With extensive experience in the hospitality industry, Claudia Scrase has worked for some of the biggest hotel brands in the world, including the Thompson Hotel Group, SH Hotels and Resorts, and the Viceroy Hotel Group. Claudia's career spans across Los Angeles and London. Claudia is now the commercial director for one of the most prominent hotel brands in the world, the Four Seasons Hotel. If you want to hear about the balancing act of managing your career and family life and setting boundaries between your professional and private life, then this episode is for you. Hi, Claudia. Thank you so much for joining me today. As I say, I'm so lucky to have you here with me. I know I've given a bit of an introduction to you, but would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself with everyone and your journey so far?
Yeah, of course. So I'm originally from northern Mexico, via the States. So I grew up in a really small town between Mexico and Arizona. So I grew up with having both worlds in my life. So I'm 100% Mexican, but I also feel very American because I have those cross worlds. And then I started my career in Los Angeles. So I spent about 10 years in LA. And that's where I met my husband, who is a Brit. And now I live in London. So I am what you call a Britsican. I'm a British Mexican American.
I haven't heard that one before. I like that though.
Yeah. So very much a global, I consider myself a global citizen because I think I represent and my family represents what the world is today, and really incorporates what my industry is and really who we are in this time of life.
Yeah, amazing. So you're now in the UK, but you studied tourism development and management for your degree in university, and then you went straight into the hospitality industry. Was there something particular that appealed to you about that industry?
Yeah, so I actually started my career. I actually wanted to be Oprah.
Uh,
I admire that woman so much, and I think she represents so many things to so many people, and everyone
yeah.
can relate to her. And I think that's been her success. So I admired her very much growing up, and I actually studied. I went into university studying communications, so more media relations and communications. And during my uni days, I had to take an elective, which is anything. It could be anything, right? Dance, music, whatever. And there was this tourism and travel class that I chose because I wanted to also within my life when I was a student, I wanted to travel the world. And so I just took this course, just thinking it's going to be an elective. And I walked in, and after the presentation and the professor, he did his thing. I was like, oh my God, you can make a career out of this. This is amazing.
Okay.
So that's where that magic was born, because I've always admired learning from different cultures and different people and how that is brought together. And actually, now that I'm sitting here today, that really brings full circle to where I am now.
Yeah.
So really that it was an elective that I took, and that just led me to discovering more and more, and then actually becoming a career out of it, which I'm very much thankful for that journey and that process.
Amazing. I love that you could pick the elective and then you're like, wow, I can make a career out of this. That reminds me of the days when I had to pick, and I picked art, but I still didn't perform that well in it. But yeah, that's probably that's a story for another day, but worked out for you. So that's amazing. And And so, yeah, you have been in the hospitality industry for your whole career, but it is, as we know, known for long hours and it can have a demanding pace. How have you managed the balance of your career and family life?
You know what? It's honestly a daily struggle. Like you would have seen me this morning, like walking with two kids, like backpack in tow, and it's raining or drizzling. And then knowing that I have a full day packed with meetings and agendas and objectives to achieve. But I think it's a daily balancing act. I won't say it's easy at all. And 'cause it's like you just said, it's very demanding. And being in the hospitality industry, you're pretty much connected 24/7.
Yep.
But I think it's just trying to manage it and making sure that what you're doing is fulfilling you and you're achieving what you want to achieve or set out to achieve. So I would very much say it's still an ongoing challenge, but a beautiful one. And one that I'm really proud of that I've gotten this far in my career. And I'm a mom of two. So I think that's kudos just there, showing up every day and being present and taking it all in both professionally and personally.
Yep, yep. And I think that's the key. It's not like an end thing. It's
Correct.
an ongoing, as you mentioned, it's kind of that ongoing journey. But I love
Yeah.
that you mentioned it's a beautiful one as well.
Yeah, it's an ongoing journey and it's never and I know it's not black and white
Yeah.
and it's never right or wrong.
Yeah.
Like any decision you make, professionally or personally, it just leads you to another path.
Yeah.
And that path could have, takes you just another step. And I would say that, I don't think anyone has the magic solution or the magic. I think everyone finds what fits for them and their journey.
Yeah.
And it's always changing like what worked for me last year may not work for me this year because I'm changing, my children are changing, my spouse is changing. Like I think it's just being open to also evolutionizing yourself and reinventing yourself every day or every so often so that you continue to stay on top.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the real code to crack. It's knowing, like you've said, it's different circumstances for different people. And even for yourself, there's been that consistent change. Even though, you've mentioned it's a beautiful journey, it's that kind of evolution, it's a change. Have you ever felt pressure to choose between your career growth and family commitments? And how have you navigated that?
All the time. Like all the time. It's literally every day. It's either I can always work more, stay later, come in earlier, but then that then takes me away from being with my children. For example, I make a commitment that I can drop them off every day to school because that's the one time I have of the day to really spend time with them, that journey to school and taking them because at nighttime, most of the time I get home and it's kisses and a book and bed. Um, so it's literally, and even if I get that, and so every day I'm constantly trying to balance which I should do or which is right, which is wrong, and it's like I think it's different every day because sometimes I feel that mom guilt, like, oh my gosh, I need to be there. But when I'm there to avoid that, I just make sure that I'm totally present. And then when I need to get on with professional things, and I just make sure that I'm doing it fully and not trying to be distracted with anything else, and vice versa. Um, but it is definitely a balancing act,
Yeah.
and it's hard. It's so hard. I think what I love about this conversation is that it's really important for women specifically to talk about this because we don't talk about it enough about how the hustle is real for a working mom. Whatever profession you're in, it's completely a challenge every day to get to what you need to achieve, especially if you want to keep growing professionally. And it's not easy. And I think for the next generations to come as women are growing in developing in their careers, it's important to know that you can do it, but it's going to be hard. It's not a cakewalk. It's literally like trying to balance which am I doing here and which am I going there? Because you can easily decide to, work more and work, but then I'm a mom, right? And I want to be present. And I think I got that from my mom because she was a working mom. So I saw her working and her hustling. So it's already instilled in me. Like I know that I couldn't just be a mom, which is an amazing thing just to, be a stay-at-home mom. But because I grew up watching a woman move up the ranks, I want to do that too. And she inspires me and pushes me. So likewise, though, I also want to be present with my kids. If there's a concert or a play or there's always something at school, I want to make sure that I'm present. So it's you always miss out on something because you have to balance, I can't go to this meeting because I have a school play. And it's definitely a daily challenge that, again, I don't have the solution. I'm still in the midst of it. My children are so young.
Yeah.
I mean, my son is 6 and my daughter's 3. So I'm still in the midst of discovering what that is all about and how I make it great, how I make myself great in this process.
Yep, yep. All part of the journey, like you've said. It might not be everything you get to do, but the things you do get to do with them, you make sure you're present. And I think those are things that, well, I would hope that stick in, children's mind. Like, oh, when, my mum would come to my basketball game or this and that, and she'll be there
Yeah.
cheering and stuff. So it's still memories you can make. It's still things you're doing with them. But like you've said, it's that ongoing balance of the
Yeah, it's completely a balancing act. And
yeah.
I love that that was the subject of our conversation. It's always like a juggle. It's always trying to figure out, what am I going left, right, which direction? And like I said, there's no right or wrong. And I think that's what I've discovered, at least for me, that, everyone has their own path and their own journey, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just how you get there.
Yeah.
And just enjoying the journey. I think that's most important, is to enjoy like the little bit of the chaos that comes with it.
It's all part of it. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
So, what support systems have helped you maintain that healthy balance, whether that's professional or personal?
Support systems for sure. My husband, he is extremely supportive. He's always pushing me to be better and to push myself. Even when I think I can't do it, he's like, well, you can do it. You could totally do it.
Yeah.
So definitely my husband, and then my family, of course, and my close friends. Even though I don't see them, so my mom is still back home on the border of Mexico and the US. I'm always connected, like either whether it's on WhatsApp or any type of social media channel, and in my heart, like that, she did such an amazing. She brought me up so well that no matter where I am, I know that she's present with me, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
it sounds, and so that she is always, a driver can always hear her behind, like, oh, my mom, she would do this, or she thinks this, and my grandmother the same. My grandmother's no longer with us, but I carry her spirit with me. Like I can, she always pushed me as well. So, and then the rest of my family, and close friends along the way. So they're definitely one way that I stay healthy. If I'm being completely honest with you, with having 2 young children, this is an area I want to get stronger in, because pre-kids, I would be at the gym at 6 a.m. for
Wow.
an hour every day.
Yeah.
Now with kids, I haven't seen the gym in so long.
Yeah.
But it's definitely an area for my health wise that I think that's one of my biggest areas that I want to focus on. I need to focus on for me,
Yeah.
is to have that health time. So that's also an area that I'm still discovering how I incorporate that to my daily hustle, as that part of giving back to me that way. I do have some nice perks still working at Four Seasons.
Oh,
So I get to get some treatments, use the gym here if I have time and things like that. So um I make sure I use those to make sure I take care of me.
do you know what? I just say, just on a side note, it's so important. If your workplace does give you certain perks, make sure
Mm.
you use them. I feel like there were so many years where I have fantastic perks at my like my employer, but I'm just not using them. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes, and that's a really good point. Like if you wherever you work more, and as you make a decision to wherever you're going to work, I think it's important to know the perks and know what they also give you, because we give so much. And I can speak for myself. I give so much to this organization and to this hotel and this company that, and I'm really proud of it, and I want to because I know what we can achieve. But at the same time, I want it back, whether that's time back, whether it's perks back, specialty treatment, because I think that's just part of it is, it turns into a relationship.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day they used to say, no, separate your work and your life, but nowadays it's so incorporated because of all the tech that we use, and we're always connected. And especially in my role, I'm always connected. So it's intertwined, but it's important to make sure you have that balance of also you taking care of yourself and the company you work for taking care of you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I have to agree. And that touches on the next question. I think that's what advice you would give to someone who wants to progress in their career, but is worried about the impact on their personal life.
I think the first thing, the most important thing is that you have to really want it.
Yeah.
And it has to be a driver. Like I know one day I want to be a CCO, Chief Commercial Officer. Whether I get there, I have no idea, but that is what I want to achieve in my professional career. And so my head is already set on that. But that's part of it. Like I have to really want it, and that's how then you start dividing it out and seeing how you split it in many other ways. Like a simple example, I've always had two phones. I've had a work phone and a personal phone. And I do that from a visual thing because I'm like, sometimes I know, okay, if I turn my work phone, I know I can disconnect for how much time that is. And then my personal phone is just my personal. So I actually do that intentionally, which I know some people like to just have everything in one. But then it's always pinging and it's always going because the nature of our business, at least, is 24/7. So it's always going. So for me, that's one of the ways that I separate. And to add to that, obviously, you really need to want it,
Yeah.
like I said before. And then also knowing that it's sacrifice.
Mm.
Like, and you have to make a choice. Like all things in life, you have to make a choice. And it's sort of like I was thinking about this and I thought, it's sort of like a relationship. If I hadn't taken the risk on um, choosing the person I chose to get married to, I wouldn't be sitting here in London. My husband's British, so we're now in the UK. Um, so it's all a choice, and you either want to move forward with it or you don't. And um, but know that it's a sacrifice that you can have it all, and I do believe you can, but you'll have it all in different stages, and that's okay.
Huh.
Like you can be fulfilled and an amazing mom, in certain stages and certain times of your life, and then but also be a fulfilled and winning career woman. And it's very much embracing the stages of it, and being open to it. I think one of the successes that I've had is that I keep an open mind and I'm very dynamic, and I just go with it. Like sometimes, like I said, I don't have it all figured out. So my biggest advice is if you want to grow in this industry, specifically hospitality, is just keep an open mind. Know that there's more and more women that are having children and becoming moms. Because back in the day, it was not a thing for a woman in my type of role to be a mom. It was very much a no. It was a no, no kids, no partner. It's just, oh, you're the lead. But now more and more, as more of us grow up in this industry, there's more moms out there that are making it and that are making changes and making waves and creating the path for the next generations to be moms in the workplace and hospitality and still be leaders. But it definitely, and the reason why I say open-minded, because it's not easy.
Mm.
And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh yeah, I got it all figured out. It's all fun. No, it's constantly like, if it isn't other women who don't have kids who are criticizing you, like, like, whoa, she can't come. She's always, right to her kids. You have that woman. Then you have other women that are like, oh yeah, we support you. But we're not going to put everything in you because, we know that you're restricted. Then you have the ones that really support you. It's really like there's different layers of support systems, and knowing then who to angle and who's going to understand. But I have to say that it's definitely a sacrifice. It's not easy, but you could do it. Like I'm proof that you could do it. I'm proof that you can, work in an industry like this 24/7 and still continue to grow and evolve. It's just having the right support system and the right foundation. If your circle, if you talked about, you know, and the previous question about, what's healthy to you, I think it's also right having the right circle, not just personally, but also professionally, having the right mentors, the right people around you. You'll find your people that will grow you, inspire you, push you, and have a high expectations of you, because those people will help you become great.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what? Someone made a point once that they used an analogy and they were like, who are the board of directors in your career? So, if you
Oh,
have
that's like your one.
yeah, and that
Oh,
one
yeah, I
struck
like
me.
that.
Yeah, they said, so obviously you have a company and it's got the board, and the board are setting that kind of strategy. They're giving that guidance. They're making sure it's functioning as it should. And who is that for you? And that was really food for thought for me.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a good thing. A good way to put it too. I think I would probably have a mix of personal and professional.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I gotta put my board of directors together.
After this, you're going to go and contact people. You've been assigned. You've been appointed. You're appointed.
You've been afraid to my
Yeah, just
to my board of directors.
yeah. Do you know what that reminded me of, by the way? When you spoke about previously you wanted to be Oprah, and I
Yeah.
don't know if you ever saw that
Yeah.
episode.
You get a car.
And you,
You get a car.
I love that. That's funny.
You get to be part of my board, and
Yeah,
you get to be part of my board.
exactly.
How about that?
That is funny. That is hilarious. So what's your approach to setting boundaries between work and personal life? Again, I think you've touched on it a bit, but when you look at that, do you have a system in place? Do you have specific tactics in place? What is your approach to that?
Yeah, learning how to say no and being fine with it. Like, no, that's not going to work for me. And trust me, for a woman that is in this industry, and I'm in this industry, and most of the people that I work around are in this industry because they love serving people. It's a very much we serve people. It's a very much storytelling. We're part of people's storytelling. But sometimes that can get confused with being too nice. So I think it's important when you're setting boundaries to say no, and or to set expectations and to set deadlines. Like um, I could, this is the project, or this is the project, this is when I can deliver it to you. So maybe very, very much clear on your deadlines, and what you can achieve within that time. When I was young in my career, I literally would say, yeah, yes, I could do it. And then I would find myself like drowning and being like, oh my gosh, this is too much. And so as I've matured and evolved, I'm like, no, okay, I could do this. I could do anything, by the way. You could do anything, but it's giving them the parameters of, okay, this is a subject, this is the project, this is when I think we can achieve it, and giving realistic targets, as opposed to just saying yes and then someone's chasing you. So I think that's the best thing, is yeah, learning to say no and learning to prioritize. um, I have a really big team, for example, right now, and I have really big expectations for myself personally for a profession, and then also expectations with different stakeholders of where I'm at. And so I make sure that I'm managing that and setting the right boundaries and the expectations, as well, to make sure that it keeps moving. But then I prioritize, right? Like I can't, what someone else is sending me an email about is their priority. Like I need to have my priorities and what I need to achieve, and then everyone else is secondary. So that's also saying no and learning to put yourself first, not just personally, but professionally.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that sounds like it's a you problem that you need to figure it out, and you're a grown woman or man, and you can figure it out. I need to get this. And I don't say that in a selfish lens. I say that in because ultimately, if you have the energy to focus on a certain part of the business, you will only help the business and you'll help it grow and evolve. But if you're always just like saying yes and trying to figure out everyone's problems, then you get sucked into the nitty gritty of the daily. Um, so I think that that's one of the areas that I continue to evolve and try to get stronger in, is prioritizing, saying no, and knowing where I stand in the picture, the big picture of things. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
There is power in saying no.
Yeah.
I think it takes a while to master.
Yeah.
Like if
You can say it, you can say it, you can finesse it.
yeah.
Because I know use my smile all the time. It's one of my weapons. Like I literally can stare at someone and say, they ask me something and I'll tell them no in a very kind way. Like, oh, like in a very charming way. So I think that's also a skill that is one to master is like saying no, saying that sounds really exciting, but maybe down the line and knowing how to say it in a very um I guess, political or friendly or approachable way, but you're still saying no.
Yeah, that's what I was
So I
going to say.
think that's
Saying no without using the word.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You don't have to actually like, no, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do that. You can say, oh, that sounds like a wonderful project. Good luck with that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I think it took me a while in my career to be able to say no. And sometimes if you don't learn when to, you could end up doing yourself
Yeah,
a disservice or the person that's making the request. So there's definitely power in saying it. It's just mastering one, being comfortable to do it and how to
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, like you said, you don't have to like always just say straight out no. Like you
Yeah.
can say in such a way, or even share your points, especially if that's coming from like your boss, and say, I hear you, but XYZ, and this is why
Yeah.
I hear you, but this is why I can't, or it doesn't make sense, or not right now. Um, and it's not easy, but I think practice makes perfect. I mean, it'll never be perfect, but just keep the more you do it, the stronger you're going to get in it, and the stronger you're going to get in feeling comfortable in those spaces that are uncomfortable. And that's another really important thing when setting boundaries and setting yourself up for your future success is when you feel uncomfortable is when you're growing the most.
Yeah.
When you are in like the like the oh my gosh moments, that's when you're really you're stretched because then you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, I did that. I could do that. Like I got this.
Yeah.
And then you like go to the next hill and you're like, can I do this? And then you reach the hill and you're like, oh my gosh, I totally got that too. So it's definitely that's an area to also work on.
Yeah. I feel like there's two things. It's that consistent pushing of your own boundaries to the next
Mm.
phase. But one thing, a piece of advice my manager gave me about how I operate that I didn't realize it was through his observation. He had said, you always operate at the edge of your comfort zone. And then when he made it known to me, now I try to consciously do that to help push myself. So yeah, it's like
So
you said anyway, it's that
what kind of example? Like what did he share? If you don't mind sharing.
he never told me exactly, and it's probably a question I should have asked him, but it changed the way I operate in my career. So, for instance, I'm doing this passion project now. I'm into, I've always been passionate about the advancement of women in different industries. I sit in the tech space, so that's what I'm passionate about. And so doing this is pushing myself past the edge of my comfort zone.
Mm.
So he never necessarily told me these are the things you've done, but he said, one thing I've noticed about you is that that is how you operate. So you'll do things that you're just about comfortable with or you're not so comfortable with, but you're going to do it anyway. And then it made me consciously do it now. So if there's something I want to do, but I might be scared, a bit worried, I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to do it anyway. And that's whether it's in the workplace or my
Yeah,
personal
oh, I love
relations.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. It's
Yeah.
true. It's true because it's when the moment when you're like when you get like those butterflies when
Yes.
you're like in that excuse my language like the oh shit moment is when you're like yeah
We love it.
now we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like in those edge of your seat moments where you really master and become great.
Yeah.
When you push yourself, because then you realize you could do it. And then the next hurdle is like, oh my gosh, I did that. I could totally do this now.
And
So
it's that part that you said also, it's the gratification that comes after it. Like, wow, I can do this. I can, what's
yeah, and
next?
you didn't think you could. And I think that's the amazing part is that you had an idea and then you had the courage to go for it and be bold about it.
Yes.
And then but you were so nervous and you were so hesitant, but you actually did it. And then you see when you see the results of it, whether you succeeded in it or not, but the results of it, you learned something. You grew in that process, and that only makes you stronger. Oh no, I believe wholly in that. That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. And so you have done a lot of things in your career, Claudia. You're currently a director level. I love to hear that you want to be CCO one day. Is there a particular person or experience that has made you feel seen or supported as a woman in your field, especially in yours in particular, the hospitality industry, where I think it's probably been a bit more male dominated, but now females are coming through. Is there someone that's really driven you, supported you in all that?
Yeah, I mean, I think in my entire career, I've been so fortunate that the opportunities have come to me because of someone seeing something in me. And so I've been really lucky in that sense that I've had true supporters, whether they're quiet supporters or loud, showcasing supporters. I've been really fortunate to have that in my career. Fans. When you think of the board of directors of your life, like you have those fans. But it's definitely the women that I've worked under have shown me and pushed me, whether negative or positive. They've shown me different colors of the industry that I took in what I wanted to. And I always said that anytime I worked under someone, I said I'm going to take the goods and bads and then make what I want great. Um, so every woman that I worked for and under and with has had influence in strengthening me, because even at the coordinator level and at the same level, any level, everyone is a key player to our success. And I think that is one thing that I did learn early in my career, is that never underestimate like the person at the at the bottom of the hierarchy, that everyone is so important and is such an influencer to the ultimate success. Um, but it is definitely a boys' club. Hospitality is definitely I remember when I was opening a hotel here in central London, the leadership team was all guys. And I had just come back from giving birth to my first son. And I'm literally, it's a construction site. It's all men on my leadership team. Um, there's a bunch of Scots in the building doing the renovation. It's all men again. And I had to pump, like I needed to breast pump. And I literally had these amazing little pumps that I would just pop in, and I would like my boobs look super super huge in them, but like it's what I had to do, and because I wanted to be, that's what it was, me being there for my son through that, but also me then working and hustling. And I remember thinking, wow, like I'm a powerhouse. This is amazing. Like I'm opening a new hotel in central London. I'm pumping breast milk. I'm working with all these men, and like and so in the industry, it's definitely been very much a boys' club. And I have to say that I've been really fortunate that with the men that I've worked with are huge supporters. Have been huge supporters of me. And it makes a difference.
Yeah.
It makes a difference when you have, like I was saying earlier in our chat, like when you have a backing, when you have that support system, because they believe in you and they want to see you become great.
Yeah.
And that's so important, whether male or female, having those cheerleaders, those people that are behind you. And most currently in my current role, there's a lot of people I admire. There's a lot of people that are really amazing in my current brand. But I think the person that really inspires most of us, in at least the commercial lens, and inspires most of us and gets us like pushes us to become better. I don't know what it is about him, and I admire it so much. Is like he just having conversations with him, you want to be great, because instills that in you. And I love working under visionaries like that, and such amazing leaders like that. Our current CCO is that he's exceptional, and he's such cheerleaders of all of us, and really wants us to become great together, and pushes us, and it was a really big support system to me, for example, and helps me, and I give him crazy ideas. He's like, go for it, or we chat about things, and I think that's so important for an organization to have people at the C-suite level to really look at their talent, down below, or across the field, and make sure that you're rallying for them, because ultimately our success will be his success and wherever he goes. But I think it's so amazing to have inspirational people like that to look up to, because I think it's because he's so inspiring to me, and him and other people in my career, people that inspire me, they make me want to be great, and they get the best out of me, and that's what will get the best out of you. So I think it's important when you are in your career to find those people that get the best out of you, and that you want to push more, because they push you as well to become great. Um,
Yeah. That's one of my favorite questions because people don't realize the impact that they can have on you
oh my gosh, it's amazing.
right now in your career as it stands and even moving forward. And as I say, that's why I love that question, because I've got two previous managers that, one, to your original point, saw something in me that I hadn't seen in myself yet. That can be such a motivating factor to go for the next phase, to be great even for yourself, but because they believe in you, so you want to be great too. And the fact that they might have certain traits or do certain things for you that, again, they're having that massive impact on your career and they don't even realize it. And it's nice to sometimes just reflect on that.
It is so nice. And it's
Yeah.
like those little nuggets that they don't realize they give you. It's
Yeah.
a breath of fresh air. Of like, okay, I needed that boost. And sometimes I think the beauty of it is to do it when you least expect it, and to, give that boost to get you to keep going, is so helpful. And I actually now proactively, intentionally do that to other people, below me or under me on my team. Like if I see someone that did something great or is challenged with something, I proactively reach out and give them love
Yeah.
quietly, but I give them love. And then also my previous team and my previous bosses, like I also make sure I stay connected as well and give them love, because I think, our circles are so intertwined, especially the longer you stay in the hotel industry and hospitality, the more it gets smaller. Everyone knows each other. So it's so important to stay connected, especially for those that gave you that juice, that gave you that, I have, different pockets and different people in my past life that sometimes I'm like running out of steam and I just reach out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I need some love. I need some inspiration. And it's so great to be able to have that and do that. So I think with your question earlier too about like health and finding that healthy balance, it's important to have those people that can fill your cup,
Yeah.
that you can go to, that can, I
Oh,
needed to
yeah.
hear that.
Yeah.
I needed to talk about that. I needed to hear that. I needed to get to the next stage. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that you're paying it forward as well. It's nice to have it and it's nice to give it or be that for somebody
Yeah.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I also get fueled by that,
Yeah.
because I'll get it love from the top. And then if I give love to someone on my team or around me, and I can feel their love, it's like, oh my gosh, we fell in love.
Yeah.
It's good. It's just
Yes.
good energy, and it's
Yeah.
it's good. It's
It
good
is.
to give that, give it full circle.
It is. It is. And so my next question for you is, what advice would you give to somebody that's just starting out in their career and they want to get into the field?
The advice is to come with an open heart and an open mind. You can really do anything in this industry, and it's so still being painted. It's so still so very new in the brand in like the world, that you can really embrace and do so many things. There's so many amazing things to be done. Um, but you have to come in with an open mind
Yeah.
because you're going to meet all walks of life, all styles of people, all different work ethics, all different vibes, all different cultures. And you come in and absorb it and take in again what you want to take in,
Yeah.
to help you go to where you want to be. And I think that would be the biggest thing is to open mind about your time, about your, what you want to do, because there's so many areas, especially in hospitality, that you can focus on, and so many areas that are evolving and changing, and it's exciting. Like I've been able to travel the world with everything, every brand that I've worked for. I've been able to meet people from all over the world. I mean, I met my husband at the first hotel I ever worked
Doesn't
at.
get better than that, does it?
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't get better than
Yeah.
that. Um, and it just um I would just say bring the energy, bring it. If I didn't choose to bring this energy to this conversation, to the day, to the rest of the day, to all the meetings I had, then I wouldn't get much out of it.
Yeah.
But you also bring the energy to the space that you're going to, and it's important to carry that with you as you go into this career. Is that you can make it exciting, but it's because of the energy that you're going to bring to the table, to the day, and to the topics. And what I've also learned is nothing is impossible. Like I've done so many amazing things, whether it's creating brands, renaming hotels, repositioning hotels, opening hotels, that there's no it's so gray. There's no black and white. You can color however, you can, and not everyone has it figured out. Yes, there's standards and, expectations and certain parameters, but all of those can be rewritten.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned is, coming from working in more boutique brands for most of my career and then coming to an amazing organization like Four Seasons, that I'm now marrying both, and the power that I've learned in both, I'm marrying that and helping take it to the next stage for myself professionally and for the brand.
Yeah.
So
So I think one thing you touched on there is so be open-minded. You also touched on you've worked for boutique brands and then there are chains.
other boutique and then more corporation, big corporate brands,
Yeah.
like a Four Seasons. I mean, Four Seasons, we have over 135 hotels worldwide, and it's growing rapidly. Um, and so it's a big beast
Yeah.
compared to like the my previous brand we had when I left, we had they had 12 hotels. So I mean, it's a different structure. And they're both beautiful and they both have their pros and cons. And it's just in your career as you go into this is just being open to both and wearing both. Like for me, I love boutique and lifestyle, and that's what appealed to me. But I also knew the power and the strength of a brand like Four Seasons. And so when I got the call to come and consider this brand and this asset, I said, okay, let's give it a go. And um, it's been amazing. I've learned so many things about myself, about what I can achieve, about how even like the structures work, how the chain of the impact. We're really big at Four Seasons on people. And that's something that it's new to me. Like if people are important in my boutique brands, that's not what I'm trying to say. They're totally important, but it's like at another level here at Four Seasons, and it's what makes it great.
Yeah.
It's what makes it special. Is the people part of it. So I'm also continuing to learn, um, you know, as well. But I think that's what I mean. Like I continue to have an open mind. So if you're starting your career, especially in this industry, keep an open mind, because if you keep an open mind, you can really achieve so many things.
Yeah.
And I'm proof of that. I think I've experienced so many that from a small dirt road in the north of Mexico. So, and here I am staring at I you can't see it, but I literally at my door is Tower Bridge, so it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's
Pretty true.
amazing when you get to look
Yeah.
back and think about where I've come from or where I started out and where I am now.
Yeah,
Nice thing.
absolutely. And it's humbling. It's good to, and it's important to remember your roots. And no matter where your life, your career takes you, to remember where you're from.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be surrounded by people and that, I can be myself and lay my hair down, but also elevate myself.
Yeah.
And those are two empowering things. And I think it's a continuous elevation, and that's what I expect of my children now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're little, British Mexican Americans running around London, and I expect them to, I mean, I don't know, my daughter, I want her to go to the moon at this rate.
They're global citizens. They're global citizens.
Yeah.
So what's one thing you wish you had known earlier in your journey?
One thing I wish I would have known is to make sure that I go for it and don't hold back. We talked about living on the edge of what you're living on the edge of taking action. Um, I wish I would have known is that there is no right and wrong, and there is no right specific way to do it. It's a guide. Life is a guide. There's guidelines everywhere, but you can really do anything. And I think sometimes, looking back in my career, I held back because whether it was out of respect or out of fear or out of um, not the unknown, I held back or was a little bit more timid and shy. And look back and like, oh my gosh, what was I worried about? Like I totally could have done that. I totally could have got this. And I think that's where I would encourage, younger women to just go for it. And what's the worst that can happen? Nothing or no. What's the worst they can say? No. Or at least I tried. At least I had to go. And there's so many amazing things that I have had to go and did. Then sometimes I think back, like, when I was much younger and so more, a little less like, I get the word is like more respectful or more like conscious of, the powers above. But like sometimes I should have questioned some things or been like, what, like, why are we doing it that way? So I highly encourage um, the next generations and the younger to just ask the questions, be curious. Even if it's the way it's going to be done, but like why is it going to be done like that? Because one thing I've learned being doing this for 17 years now is that you have to keep inventing yourself and changing. And that means so does your brand, so does your hotel, so does wherever you work, is that you have to be continuously changing. So you should be asking the questions. You should be querying things. You should be saying, why are we doing it that way? That doesn't make sense. Because it could have made sense 10 years ago, 12 years ago, but now in 2025, is the way we did it 10 years ago making sense now? No, it's not. It's probably very likely not. The bones and the basics, those are just the basics always there, but the way you get to it and the way you action it. So one thing I highly encourage that I wish I would have done is just to push the envelope more. And I'm really proud of what I've achieved with, being what I've done, but I think I could have pushed it even more much younger. But I think that comes to do with like confidence. And that's why having that support system is so key around you, because you also need those, not just the support system from a professional, but also from a personal to help build your confidence that you got this and that you could do this. So
yeah. So one key thing from that is challenging or not being afraid to challenge the status quo. Maybe
100%. Don't be afraid. Or at least ask the question.
Yeah.
And like I said, what's the worst thing you can say is no, or that's off topic. Okay, well, that's off topic, but and don't stick to it. If it doesn't work for you, don't stick to it. Like life is so short, and I know we hear that all the time, but it does, and it goes by so fast. If something doesn't work for you, whether it's personally or professionally, and you had to go at it and you really did try, just don't stick around. Like, be around the people that help make you great. Whether it's, if you have a passion for driving, riding boats down the Thames, like do that. Like do what fuels you, because that will fuel you and create great things in your long-term future. So I think challenge the status quo and then just don't stick for it for the sake of sticking for it.
Yeah.
Do it for a purpose, do it for a reason, because actually, if you have a purpose, vision, passion behind it, you actually help the business.
Yeah.
So you're actually helping your bosses, the board of directors above, if the people under actually are driven to achieve the targets or to achieve whatever industry you're in.
Yeah. Yes. And one thing sometimes you'll be surprised to see is the reaction when you have a different view or you can bring something different to a way of thinking or what have you. Because sometimes it's not people are against it, they just didn't think of it. So you might be the first, if you are
Yeah,
asked.
exactly. They didn't think of it, or they
Yeah.
didn't think about it in their industry.
Yeah.
And what you might bring to the table can change the wave of the direction of the business. So you should totally bring it to the table.
Yeah. Be a
At
revolutionary.
least food for thought. You should totally like I said, it goes, why not? And possibly it can be helpful and beneficial to the business. So I think you definitely have to share, different ways of doing things, and at least trying it. I think, and but that's also important. It's important to work under organizations and people, and it goes back to having the support system and having the right mindset with people that are open to that, people that are open to something different, because a lot of people get used to like, oh, we've been doing this is the way we do it, which is fine, but the way you do it, you've been doing it. I could do it in 10 seconds as opposed to 2 hours. So also the way we do things, a mindset, but it's not everyone is open to that. And so then you have to find your circle and people in the orgs that are open to that,
Yeah.
and are open to those and stick to them. Like like I said, I have a beautiful organization and there's so many amazing people, but I gravitate to the ones that want to make a change, that want to keep pushing the envelope. And that's just because that's who I gravitate to, because that fulfills me, that brings me success, and that also speaks to me. The people that want to challenge the status quo or want to do it different than how it's been done or being done.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. And so, what's one accomplishment you are proud of and why?
Accomplishment I'm proud of. One of, I think probably if I could choose one, the main one would be being a working mom. I'm so proud of that. Like I don't think I reflect on it enough, unless I'm being asked, specific questions. But I look back and I hear this all the time from different people that I see me running around like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. And like sometimes like this question is great because sometimes I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I do it. I don't know like how did that even happen? Like how did I even get here today? Like if and I think that's, to me, that's one of the biggest things because I always wanted to be a mom. That being Mexican, being Latina, family comes first, family is everything. And so I always knew I wanted that and I needed that in my life. And so that's a huge accomplishment for me. But also then as I, started learning and growing more professionally, I'm also in the stage of like, oh my gosh, I also want to be a boss.
Yeah.
Like I want to be a leader. I want to keep challenging myself. I want to keep raising my own bar and my own expectation. So I think that's probably the proudest thing is that I'm doing it. I'm at this level and I expect to continue challenging myself and pushing myself, whilst being a mom, whilst being a wife, whilst being a friend, whilst being a sister. I want to keep doing it, and I'm doing it. And sometimes it's harder days and easier days, and every day is different. Every day is dynamic. Um, but I also think, like we talked about way earlier in our chat, like that's part of the journey. That's part of the journey and enjoying it and appreciating the chaos, but also the beauty and the fun that comes with it. And so that's probably the most thing I'm currently proud of is being a working mom and succeeding at it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I give myself enough credit that I deserve. It's like I'm doing it. Like I'm not just talking about it, like I'm actually doing it and pushing myself. So
It's a big
yeah.
achievement and one that I think can't be underestimated. And like
Yeah.
you said, that people don't think about sometimes until they're asked about it because you're so busy living it and doing
Yeah.
and just getting it
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't like when you're asked, you're like, oh my gosh, I am doing that. Like I am having a full on week, working late here and there, and then then having a full weekend with kids, and then showing up again the next week, like, oh, here I am, refreshed
Yeah.
on a Monday morning,
Ready to go.
ready to go.
Yeah. Amazing. I love that. And so my last question for you, Claudia, is what's next for you and how do you see your work contributing to the future progress in your field?
What's next for me?
Yeah. I know the
Maybe I'll
big
answer the first question. The second question first is how I see my work progressing the industry. I I love uh opening hotels, repositioning hotels, branding, rebranding hotels, giving assets the spotlight they deserve. Um, and so I think for me, what I can contribute to my industry is just that, is helping, whether it's a 3-star brand, a 5-star brand, I can help these brands and these hotels give themselves the best light possible in their market. And what I mean by that is that one of my greatest achievements of 2024 was doing just that for the property I'm currently overseeing. I renamed the hotel because I wanted to give it a sense of place. I wanted to give it its voice in within London, and and I look back in my career and I've done that in so many different ways. I've opened 3 hotels, I've repositioned 2 hotels, I've opened dining outlets within existing hotels, always always these amazing chapters of openings and rebranding and giving awareness to communities. So I think for the my industry specifically, as there's more and more hotels popping up, that means the existing hotels need to get a revamp of life. I think I'm a big asset to that. I can help these hotels and do that. And so even specifically for my brand, I think there is a lot of beautiful product hotels that we have that can get us what's it called, like a splurge of energy, a splurge of life back into them. And then also the pipeline that we have as a brand. There's a lot of hotels that are coming that we just want to make sure we set them up for success and be as competitive in a crazy competitive market as possible. So um, I see that more and more coming, especially for London, because we have so many amazing hotel options. Whether you're a 4-star girl or 5-star girl, your options are incredible in this city. And so really giving these players a space to wave their flag, get the opportunity for someone to visit, or a reason to stay or a need to play. Um, and then, so I hope that everything I've learned in my career and everything that I've experienced that will take me to the next step for in my profession. The ultimate goal, like I mentioned in the chat, is to one day be a CCO. I think I just told that to myself probably a little bit over a year ago after a conversation I had with someone because they were dreaming big and they're like, well, why not? And I was like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Like, what's stopping me? And absolutely nothing is stopping me. So that is my ultimate aspirational. How long I get to that or it takes me to get to that, I don't know. And that's okay because that's part of the fun and the journey of it. Um, is that I still have a lot to learn and grow myself in other ways. But I know that what I can bring to the table is really helping. I love branding. I love repositioning. I love openings. I've had extensive experience that in my career, so it's just something I gravitate to, and it's a creative arm that I love to flex, and it excites me. Any product I'm giving up that it's a project. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna make this so amazing. Everyone's gonna scream about it, and I hope that that is a value asset to my growth in my industry.
Yeah.
Um, at least I think it is. So,
I see it happening for you though, because one, you have done so much already and you are proof that it's possible in terms of even raising a family while still progressing. And something important that you touched on there is acknowledging it's a journey. It doesn't have to be a now, 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 now. It's I've picked up so many skills. I've done some amazing things. I've achieved a lot and I'm still on the journey. And one
Yeah.
day I'm going to get there. And I just feel like that is going to happen for you. So I
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I'm pushing.
yeah.
We
You're going
got
to get there.
this.
You're going to get there. You're going to get there. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today, Claudia. I knew that this was going to be an episode that has a lot of insights. I think when we first spoke, there are some parallels when you generally talk about careers and managing them, but you've opened up more about the world of hospitality and then the added complexities, if you like, of raising a family within that industry. So I'm sure this is going to be such an insightful episode for everyone. And I can't wait to see you one day as CCO for a big hospitality brand. But again, thank you so much and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.